This meeting is being recorded.
Great. Perfect. So we would like to reflect on and acknowledge the land we are on today. Currently, Sheridan College is occupying the following traditional territories of the Indigenous nations: Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, the Wendat, the Métis, and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. These territories are displayed in this video on the screen, which you can see now. For myself, I am on the traditional territory of the Haudenosaunee Confederacy, and as Sheridan College and myself sit on these lands, it is our collective responsibility to honor and respect those who have gone before us, those who are here, and those who have yet to come. And for everyone that is joining our session, I hope you also reflect and acknowledge that it is your own responsibility as well. I recognize the blessing it is to be on such a beautiful green land that is the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. Just being on this land where every component, the soil, the water, the trees, have given so much life to myself and all the living things around me. I am incredibly grateful to be here and to work and learn with all of you today. So welcome to Small Business Business Banking 101. For those that don't know, today's session is part of the Social Impact Catalyst series powered by RBC. If you haven't already joined or registered, please join us for the next upcoming sessions that are coming up on form prototyping on June 14th, Indigenous Perspectives on June 28th, Legal Bootcamp for Startups on July 21st. So if you haven't already registered and you are interested in these sessions, please join us in the future. So I will put our Eventbrite link into the chat for you to join. And another upcoming session that's really exciting for us. It's an in-person event. So if you are in the Mississauga area or within the GTA, please join us for our Lunch and Lead session, Mindful Leadership, A Path to Clarity and Courage. It's at our Mississauga campus, HMC, which is right by Square One. So if you are free and available, please come join us on Wednesday, July 13th at 12 p.m., which is being led by our very own director, Renee. So hopefully you are able to join us. And I will put that link into the chat as well. But hopefully you are able to come in for some human-to-human interaction soon. And then before further ado, we introduce our wonderful facilitator. As a side note, I would like to let SIC specifically to please stay behind after the session for some reminders and next steps. But our session for tonight is led by Kazim, who has been a business account manager for 3 years and with Royal Bank of Canada for 8.5 years. Kazim specializes in reviewing business plans and financials for startups and existing businesses. He helps them execute their financial goals, as well as providing advice to help attract and retain their employees, while also helping the clients achieve their personal goals. He strongly believes that building a business goes far beyond making money. It's about dreams, aspirations, and living life the way you want. So without further ado, please welcome Kazim. Thank you so much for joining us and facilitating tonight's session.
Oh, thank you very much for having me, Rika, and thank you all for joining. It looks like we'll be having an interactive group today. And as she had mentioned, definitely, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to add it in the chat. And if there's something that I'm speaking about that you have a question about immediately, don't hesitate to put your hand up and we can have a little discussion as we go through this. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just I'm going to share my screen here so that we're going to be able to see the presentation here. Make sure everyone's sharing. Perfect. Make sure I can see it. Okay. So as we're going to start off, we're going to start talking about really the banking areas that essentially a business owner is going to be categorized into. First, we're going to have the retail branch level. That's going to be your revenue or your sales up to $1 million, where you'll be able to come into any branch that's convenient for you, speak to a banking advisor, but as well as having the ability to access our access to specialist line that are open Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. and then on Saturdays 9 a.m. to 5. Whether that would be credit needs or if you're just really doing day-to-day banking. And if maybe your business isn't as complex yet, in terms of you just have some general transactions that go through the account, you may have some credit as well. Usually that's going to be meant for the startup business. The next level we'll have is the kind that I deal with was going to be the small business level in terms of you'll have your revenues between about 1 to 3 million. You'll have credit needs that could range up to 1.25 million. So this is more of an emerging business, more of a kind of the teenage phase of business, where you're starting to get a little bit more of an understanding of how your business is operating, what's required and what's needed. And also you may have a little more complexity in terms of you may have some additional employees, as well as you may need to start paying suppliers, whether it's in Canada or overseas. The next level will be our commercial banking level. That's going to be for clients who have their revenue sales over $3 million. They're the more mature group, I would say, in terms of their business growth, as in they've gone through the growing pains, the adolescent period of it, and now they've come out to the point where they're looking to expand and diversify their interests. And so what would be, as I've been advised, that most of you here haven't actually either created a business plan or are at the very early stages of starting your business and may not be incorporated. So you may be running things out of your personal account. One of the things that I want to, I guess, stress that's very important is really establishing your business banking profile. Whether you're incorporated or not, you can still have a business banking profile. You can have when you're not incorporated, generally, you'd be a sole proprietorship. Sole proprietorship means that the legal name of your business is just going to be your legal name. It could be your first and last name, or you can be your first, middle, and last. What you'll want to do, though, is set up your business structure as you'll be the owner with the bank, the branch, or your banker, depending on what your needs are going to be initially. By splitting it up separately as well, you're going to be able to have your own business client card number. You'll have still access to regular online banking, so you can manage what's coming in and coming out of your account efficiently, is what we call cash flow. Mobile access is all there as well, just like on the personal side. So you can also deposit checks through the app as well. Also, you're going to be able to find ways to best send and to receive funds. So if you do need to pay some type of supplier, if you're buying equipment, that's what establishing a business banking profile is going to set up for you, because you're going to have your own on your business side. And I was informed previously that you did have a call with an accountant, and they did stress the ability of making sure things are separate. That helps your accountant, but it also will save you a little bit of cash, because if you don't have a separate profile from your personal side, when you do need to do your taxes at year end, your accountant has to go through it all. And most accountants, they charge by the hour. So the more the accountant has to do, the more you have to pay them. So that's also a bonus of having a separate profile, because then it's very easy. The accountant doesn't need to question or ask about any type of transaction, because we all know that it's going to be for the business. Also, one of the benefits is having a business credit card, establishing your business credit separate from your personal cards. Especially on the business side, when we are providing lending, we are very specific and deliberate on what we're looking to lend for. So if you are needing day-to-day expenses, it's always going to be best to have a business credit card, which allows you to get some points, but you can track your spending a lot easier. And you don't have to worry about using your business funds to pay your personal expenses because it's going to be separate, or vice versa, making you're using your personal funds to pay your business expenses because they're all combined. So having them separate with a checking savings account also allows you to just plan, and actually it plays a great part in allocating your funds and making sure that you have enough funds and budgeting for what you need for your business. So far, does anyone have any questions of what I've mentioned? Has anyone started doing that already? And if so, or have they had any benefits or successes that they'd like to share? Okay, no worries. We'll continue. But if anyone does have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. The next step here is we're going to talk. Oh. No, okay, so someone just joined. Someone's waiting. Next set is going to be creating a business plan. Has anyone actually created a business plan before, or thought about creating a business plan in the near future? If anyone's heard of a business plan, what have you heard or been told, and do you know why it's important to create a business plan?
So Zara's saying she has, and we have Natina with her hand up. And Hannah's also saying she's done one in the past. Kazim, are you open to like people taking the mic and responding to your questions, or do you want to keep it through the chat?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Definitely speak up.
Awesome. So Natina, you had your hand up. If you wanna unmute and share what you wanted to share.
Hello. Sorry, I'm just in my car. So I'm done the overview section, like the first part of the business plan. But I know that the last time I tried to make a business plan for a different business, I had a problem with the cash flow analysis. Just like predicting like revenues and costs was a little bit difficult because I don't have a product. In the past I didn't have a product, I had a service. Now I have a product, but it's a little confusing. I feel like I definitely need someone to be there with me while I do that section to answer questions.
Absolutely. That's definitely one of the biggest aspects that a lot of people have trouble getting is actually forecasting the numbers. Whether it's a service, whether it's a product, what that's going to come down to is definitely going to require a little bit of research. And honestly, even if you go to your neighborhood, depending on who your competitors were, who are in the same industry, looking at, you don't maybe have to go, but if they have a website, and if you're selling, as you said, you're selling a product, you may want to check their website, see what they're selling their products for. But also you need to understand that that's the positive, how you're going to get the money, but also in terms of cash flow, what is coming out of the account to make those products, in your case specifically. If it costs you, let's just say $4.50 to make one product, how long does it take you to make that product? Because that's something you need to factor into your cost. Shipping, send it out. You need to do that type of research and find out what it's going to cost you so that you're making the appropriate price point, but also understanding that you do need to be competitive. And so sometimes you can't be as lofty with how much you're going to sell a product for, just because you have to figure out who the other competitors are, what they're charging. so that you can stay competitive, but then so that you can also make a profit, because obviously that's part of the goal. And yes, getting a professional to help you with the business plan is always something I'll recommend. The reason why I say that is that unless you've specifically gone to school for accounting and business plan making, that's not what and if that's not what your business is, you want to go to a professional, because they're the ones who are able to help you out. And because things change with lending in general, you want to have someone who's experienced and knowledgeable, who's in that industry and who's constantly making business plans, so that they can help you go through it, even create it for you or walk you through step by step. There's a lot of companies out there that you could start your business plan, see where you're at, and then go to them and then maybe go there for fine tuning. Or you can get to have the full service for you. Well, I hope that answers your question and offers a little bit of advice there.
That does. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And then also part of the business plan, why you want a business plan, is because it actually helps you plan, budget, and I did see some of their goals. It allows you to really put your vision in and see where you are. Because for a business plan, it's something that you could always revise, edit, and adjust as things change, whether it's the economy, whether it's how your business model has expanded, or if you need to pivot. Because I can guarantee you, clients in November of 2019 who had their business plans pretty much ready to go, or were in the process of finalizing it, and then 2 months down the line, you start hearing things about the pandemic or COVID, and then 2 months after that, so 4 months after maybe they finished their business plan, you have the pandemic, things are shut down, so now you need to change, pivot, and revise it. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with revising your business plan, because it is kind of a live document where you're going to be able to actually change it and adjust it as you need and as you see fit. And it's always evaluating possible new business opportunities that you may have not even have thought of before, or that maybe weren't available to you at the time. This will also help with supporting any type of loan request, as it'll show your financial advisor how you're able to repay the loan, because that's the big thing in terms of if you're looking for funding, whether it's small or big, your financial advisor wants to make sure that you're able to repay the loan. So that's why we want to make sure that there's been research done on your product, your sales, and also depending on what type of industry you're in. Because if you're in a landscaping business, let's say, usually when people think of landscaping, they think of the garden, things along those things that you're going to probably do in the spring and summertime. So that's just going to be your busiest time. But a lot of landscaping companies have pivoted to snow removal, maybe getting a contract from the city for snow removal. So that adds additional income and another additional stream to your revenue that maybe you wouldn't think of initially when you're thinking of doing your landscaping business. So that's why it's always good to have the ability to be adaptable and flexible, so things can change even when you weren't thinking about it. As we mentioned, the importance of a business plan. Really, some of the basics here. You want to describe the business. You want to evaluate progress against your business goals. So once your business is running, you can always go back to it. As I'd mentioned, the new opportunities, and then also supporting your financial requests. This is roughly what we would say is the 7 sections of a typical business plan. And writing a business plan really guides you through your business concept as you start, manage, and then grow your business. It really allows you to fine tune better ways of doing things, as I mentioned, being more efficient, and should be as strong as the dream you have for your business idea. Because that's what it really comes down to when you're owning your own business. You have a dream, you have a goal. So you want to have that all written down so that you can hopefully live it out, make adjustments, but so you're prepared for it. And as I mentioned, it is really a living document. and it can always be changed and evaluated as you need. And don't ever worry about revisit if you have to revisit your plan every year and then adjust it based on something that's changed. You never want to not have a business plan once your business is running, or even before, and you're always going to be adjusting it. And it's always good to give yourself a pat on the back if you did, what you expected or more than what you expected. But then also you can look at making some adjustments as you need be. So here are going to be the key components of your business plan. That pretty much is going to give you a description for you and your team. So if you have accountants with you, if you have managers, and your business, and it allows you to set up a marketing plan, do a rundown of your day-to-day operations, your financial business statements, and assessments of the business's risk, and finally your conclusions. And we'll go through these one by one.
Before you begin, there is a question in the chat. If you have a business bank account already and want a business credit card, is it based on your credit, or would you need a business plan or some sort of business document or a business loan/grant?
It would depend on how much you're looking to apply for and what you needed the funds for. Did you want to elaborate? The person who asked the question, do you want to elaborate a little bit on, let's say, just a hypothetical amount or the type of credit you're looking for?
Yeah, Renee, if you have a mic, feel free to jump in and give an amount for startup costs.
And how much would the startup cost be?
Maybe 5,000.
Oh, okay. So what I'll say about that is anything under 100,000, and if it's a startup business, it is still good to maybe even have just like a 1-pager, 2-pager business plan. The reason being is so that you can tell the financial advisor, the business account manager, what you're looking to do, and you have a plan written down, how much you're going to need and why you need it. Because when we lend on the business side, it's a little bit different on the personal side. Because on the personal side, essentially, we take a look at your personal income versus your personal debts. If you can afford it based on the ratios and the calculations, we'll approve it for you. But on the business side, we want to provide the appropriate credit for your business need. So if you're telling me it's $5,000 for startup costs, so it sounds like it's probably minor equipment, some supplies and things along those lines, just having a 1 to 2-pager will be perfectly fine to start. I would definitely advise expanding it as the business grows or as you're getting more into it. But with a startup, it's really going to be based on your personal income and net worth, so as well as your personal credit. So we're going to pull the credit on the business and personal side. If you are currently working or previously working just a regular at an employer, you're an employee, we'll want just the most recent income there as well. And then your assets, because what we are going to be lending for is really based on your personal side. And we need to make sure that if, let's say, something does happen, we're able to mitigate that risk by you having something on the personal side, or at least your personal credit has been good, where there hasn't been any missed payments and you made all your payments on time, but as well as you're not always at the limit or maxed out on your credit facilities. So it is really going to be based on the personal side when it is a startup, when it is a low amount like that, anything really under 100,000. So making sure if you do have, and by net worth is going to essentially be all the assets that you have that are tangible. So that would mean if you have cash in a bank account, savings account, investment accounts, or if you own a property, versus what liabilities, what debt you have, which is going to be if you have a mortgage, if you pay rent, any other current credit cards you have on your personal side, credit cards, loans, lines of credits. We weigh that what you physically owe versus what you have. We always want to see it positive, especially for startups. So that's how we're going to base it on. So it really will be on your personal side on how we're approving a smaller amount. When we get to anything over 100,000, still with the startup, because you have no previous business history, that's why it's still on the personal side. When it's under 2 years, it's considered a startup. But even if you go for over 100,000, now that's when we want to see like a full business plan. We want to see your projections, and we want to see, and part of your business plan is going to show what research you did to get your projection numbers here. So we want that all laid out when it is over 100,000. Even over 50,000, I would pretty much say that you should have that going, because if you're going to be getting even anything at 50,000, you're expecting your business to grow in a relatively quick time. I would say within a year or two, where you probably need additional credit. So you're probably going to want to have a good game plan on what you're going to do, and that's how that business plan is going to help. Hope that answered the question there for you. So we're going to start here with the business plans. And so first one's going to be pretty self-explanatory. It's going to be your introduction. It's going to include your cover page, table of contents, executive summary. And if you're submitting your business plan to an investor or financial institution, it's going to be a really important section, because the introduction of your business sets up the stage and tone for your audience. As part of the cover page, though, it should, you really want it to be attention grabbing, maybe with a powerful image that shows your business in action, and or your business logo, nice and prominent. Your table of contents should be well organized, not too long, and easy to follow. The executive summary is really, it's probably the most important part of your business plan, since many investors or financial institutions, we're going to read that, and we want to, because it's going to be about you, and sometimes they don't read all of it, but we're going to go further into that executive summary on the next slide. Because with your executive summary, it's going to answer a lot of the following questions here. What's your industry sector, target market? How will you differentiate yourself from competitors? Is it a sole proprietorship? Is it a partnership? Or is it an incorporated business? Is your business already in operation, or is it a startup? What are your team's experience and credentials? And what is your projected financial performance? And so that's where you're going to really be grabbing the attention of the reader. You're going to be highlighting your key information about your business. It shouldn't really exceed a page. Even though the executive summary leads off the business plan, really, it should most likely probably be the last thing you write after you've completed everything else on your business plan. This way you can select the most relevant information from your business plan, and then you include it in your executive summary. I'm going to show an example of an executive summary here, just so that everyone's able to see. Here. So as you can see from this executive summary, it's a factual, and it really answers all those key questions we talked about on the previous slide. So essentially, I'm going to just go over it here. So Michael's Business Center is a startup business providing clients with photocopying, fax, transmittal, and reception services, and access to self-serve computer workstations with a full array of software and internet capabilities. The Canadian retail business service industry currently generates $350 million in annual sales. So that's one part of target audience. Annual revenue for the Oakville market is estimated at $3 million. And so this is where the business is going to be. So competitors, that's where it's roughly going to be the target audience. The major growth trend towards self-employment and home-based businesses has created a need to provide specialized support services. So that's really why you creating this business, because you want to meet this need. But it also talks a bit about the risks in terms of how most new businesses can simply not afford the substantial investment in technology and equipment that can be accessed on in or as a needed basis through companies such as Michael's Business Services. In Canada, the number of small businesses has grown at an unprecedented rate, with most of the growth concentrated in southwestern Ontario and Alberta. As a sole proprietor, he brings over 20 years of both technical repair and sales experience from a large office equipment manufacturer. He has a Bachelor of Science from the U of T, and his technical background will give him some great skills to manage the operation of the photocopy equipment. His recent move into sales over the past 5 years has given him the skills for dealing with customers, creating personal business plan, and most importantly, closing sales. Based on the size of the market and our defined trading area, sales projections are expected to be about $335,000 in the first year, taking a modest salary of $40,000. To date, he has completed his market research and secured the lease at an exceptional location in the core of Oakville's downtown shopping and business district, and he's already negotiated equipment lease rates, received order commitments from over 24 businesses in the area. And as a retail store with first-class location, the company will enjoy walk-in traffic, but will focus on newspaper advertising, direct mail, direct selling to aggressively build their client base within the first year. So based on what we talked about in terms of an executive summary, that person's pretty much hit on everything. The industry sector, target market, which will be in the Oakville area, how he's going to differentiate himself from the competitors. You can see that he did research and also has a location set up in a great area. And that's also part of running a business, is location, depending on what you're selling or what your services are. If you need a lot of walk-through traffic, that's you're going to want to be there so you can get exposed and get walk-in traffic. Obviously, they're still doing digital marketing as well, newspapers as well. Mentioned that it is a startup business. What are his experience and how his experiences are going to turn into something great and how it's going to turn into revenue. And then he had mentioned the 335,000 expected sales. So he's added all that information there. And so this is what we consider pretty good executive summary for sure. The next step, we're going to go into what we consider as the team per se. Your team, these are just a few professionals that we generally advise our clients to take a look at. You're really going to want to know what your management team profiles are. So how many other people are actually going to be working for the business. Board of advisors, if it's just you. If you have any, you don't have to. Also your professional services, so your lawyer, accountant, banker. Banker is going to be one of the most important to start. Depending on the type of business, if there's any trade agreements or rights that you need to have ironed out, then you're going to want a lawyer for sure. But then there's the accountant. The accountant's always going to be there, just like the banker, whether you're small or a large company, because you still have to pay taxes either way. So you just want to make sure you're doing the right thing, even if you're just starting out, so that once if you do incorporate or if things change, at least you're on the right arrow with the accountant. In terms of a lawyer, you generally won't need a lawyer right off the bat as a startup business or just starting a business there. But it is always something that you want to have in the back of your mind in case you may need that. And that's usually, a lawyer can help with your human resource section as well, even though you're going to want to have human resources depending on how many employees you do have from yourself, in terms of making sure that you have correct letter of employments for your employees and making sure that you're up to date on everything to do with the accounting side as well as the employment side, since it does change quite frequently. So those are the team members that you're really going to think of what you need right now, but what you may need in the future. And the next here, we're going to talk a little bit about the business environment. And In this section, you'll really outline all the work you've done so far to start your business, or if it's already been operating, how long you've been doing it, your sales figures. You'll want to describe some of your industry trends, along with your growth prospects of the industry. Why is it going to succeed? It's always beneficial to include any relevant research and statistics you can dig up. By doing so, because as we mentioned, your business plan is always going to be evolving. If there are any statistics or research that you've noticed or any trends, whether it's in a positive or a negative light, you want to be aware of it. So at least you can get ahead of it if it is negative, or if it's positive, it's something that you're going to be looking forward to happening. You're going to want to provide a description of the product or service you'll be selling. What makes it unique? Where will you focus your sales efforts, target market? How will you carve out a position for yourself within the existing industry? And all of this information is going to build your case as to why your concept is going to succeed. Next here, we're going to talk a little bit about your marketing plan. So that's going to include everything you're going to do to get customers. First of all, who are your customers? Is it everyone in the neighborhood? Is it working moms? Describe who they are. You want to provide an estimate of the total size of your target market in the geographical area that you're going to be focusing on. What makes your service or your product unique? Sell its features and its benefits and explain why people are going to want it and how they'll use it. Of course, you're obviously going to plan, you're planning on making money, absolutely. But how much should you charge? You do need to factor in, as I mentioned earlier, how much it'll cost to actually make your product or deliver your service. You need to calculate your expenses and look at how much your competitors are charging. And that's why I mentioned part of your team, an accountant, business planner, who knows these details, who've created these before, and so that they're making realistic expectations for you. And then you want to describe how and where you plan on selling your product or service. Investors will want to know all the different people, companies involved in getting your product to your customers. If you're going to be selling it from a website, then you're going to want to explain payment, shipping details. Are people just going to be sending you Interact e-transfers, or are they going to have it automatically attached to your website where, like you would if you go to Best Buy and you want to order something online, go to Amazon, you just pay for it and it's shipped out. So that means you're getting your payment immediately. So you're not having to worry about any delays in getting paid, because that is usually something that's, depending on the industry you're in, can become an issue. You want to describe also how are you going to advertise? How are you going to drum up that business? How much of a budget are you really looking to allocate for advertising and marketing material? And then where and how are you going to actually advertise? You want to also provide an overview of your competition, how they go to market, and how your business will compete to win their business and to win business in general. You want to research the methods of advertising you want to use and make calls, finding out how much it really costs. Sometimes we think it's going to cost less than it actually does. And I'll say that a lot of businesses always underestimate how much it's going to cost, because things always come up. Even if you don't have the expertise to design a website or an ad, hire someone who does, because you do want to project a professional image to your customers. And those are pretty much all the keys, points to cover in your marketing plan. Next one, we're going to have your operations. So in the operations section, you'll need to provide the stage of development your business is currently in. Is it still just a thought in your head, or is your product already being manufactured or service delivered? You want to outline the step-by-step process of manufacturing or procuring your product or delivering your service. Explain any quality control measures you have in place. This part of your business plan should show that you have a complete understanding of the entire process involved. A lot of questions need to be answered in this section, such as which suppliers will you be using? Have you negotiated costs? How long it takes to produce or deliver? When will you start producing? Because readers are going to need to know that you've thought all this through. And part of the suppliers as well is the terms. Because if a supplier says, okay, we're going to create this product for you, we're going to ship it out, but you have to pay us back within, let's just say 30 days. But how you're receiving payment, you're giving your clients 60 days, 90 days. You can see where that could cause problems in terms of you're getting paid 30 to 60, 90 days later, but you have to pay within 30. So those are the things that you want to also understand, and this part of the operations aspect is going to help you figure that out. And what I wanted to do here now that we're on, we're at the finance part, is I think we should take a little bit of a break just to give everyone 5 or so minutes just to stretch their legs, and then we can come back. Does that work for everyone?
Yes, actually, there was a question in the chat. I just answered it, but if you want to expand on it, that'd be great. Zara had a question about if we should include the experiences of all the team members and how they're knowledgeable, etc.
Absolutely. You definitely want to make sure that everything's in there. The more you have and the more experience that they do have in relation to your specific business, the better it looks, because then it understands that you're hiring and you have the right people around you.
Great. Yeah, I think 5 minutes would be great. So that'd be 7:02.
Okay, perfect.
I made an error in my timing. I don't know how to add numbers apparently. So 6:52 would have been the 5-minute mark instead of 7:02. So hopefully people are back. Once people are back, maybe we can do some thumbs up just to make sure that there are enough people here. Perfect. 3 thumbs ups. More thumbs ups. Great. Oh. So whenever you're ready, you can take it away.
Perfect. Perfect. Everyone can see the slideshow?
Yes, looks great. Thank you.
Perfect. So yeah, the next step that we're going to talk about here is going to be finance. So the finance section is really your opportunity to kind of determine how strong your business is financially, as well as, sorry about this, everyone.
No worries.
There you go. Everyone can see it again still?
It's currently loading from, there you go. Yes, great.
Okay. All right. So yeah, it's going to be really your opportunity to determine how strong your business is financially. And it's very important to be realistic in your financial projections. And so we'll go through this one by one. Your business will have two types of expenses: one-time expenses and operating expenses. One-time expenses are going to be costs you incur only once when setting up your business. Operating expenses are ongoing costs that you'll have to pay every month or bi-monthly or semi-annually. Calculating these expenses before you start your business is very important, because when you plug them into your cash flow statement, they will really reveal how much startup financing you're actually going to need to get your business up and running. A cash flow statement is really a reflection of how much money your business has at a particular point in time. It lets you see fluctuations in cash flow and should be prepared on a monthly or quarterly basis to help you proactively deal with any cash flow problems. I would say generally you want to do it on a monthly basis, because we really want you to see how those fluctuations go on a monthly basis as opposed to doing it quarterly. Realistically, if you haven't started your business yet, though, you'll really only be providing expenses on a cash flow statement. An income statement shows your profit and loss for a particular period of time, which is usually a year, your year end. So what you've done the previous 12 months before. It's going to detail all your revenues, expenses, and any other costs that have happened. It can be done on a monthly or quarterly basis, but that's usually done your income statement at the year end. And it's pretty much an accounting tool used to measure a business's performance. On the other hand, a balance sheet is going to be a snapshot of the financial state of your business at any particular point in time, so any day when that balance sheet's created. It does outline your assets, liabilities, equity, and helps you with the net worth of your business. Lets you know that. And by snapshot, we mean when you start up a brand new business, your balance sheet is going to be dated for the day your business opens. It's considered an opening balance sheet. So the day you open your doors, or you're starting your product, you're selling your first item, that's where your opening balance sheet's going to be when you are a startup. But if your business has been operating for over a year, your balance sheet date is going to be the last date of your year-end business. So not every business goes from January to December. Some go from July to June, October to September, November to October, so on and so forth. So if, let's say, your business goes from January to December, your business has been running for over a year, your balance sheet is going to be now that December 31st, because that's your year end. And then that income statement is always going to be dated for your year end. So you'll have the balance sheet and income statement dated for the year end once your business has been operating for over a year. But when it's a startup, your income statement is going to be dated for whatever your year end is, but your balance sheet is going to be dated for the day that you open the door, because you're a startup business. So whether you're doing your accounting yourself or getting someone else to do it, you can see how important it is to stay on top of completing these statements on a regular basis. Did anyone have any questions about the finance aspect, the cash flow statements? Next, we're gonna talk about the big part here. It's really gonna be your risk and your conclusion. You definitely are gonna want to be honest about your risks and take them very seriously. Every business has some degree of risks, so take the time to think through all the possible risks your business could face. Be honest and take them very seriously, because thinking ahead can prevent a lot of problems from happening. For example, the economy's always been, always had a risky effect on any business. Competitors are another risk. Having a key team member get sick can change things. Not having enough money for advertising can impact your business. You want to detail how you plan to minimize or address these risks. Remember that the most important reason for writing a business plan is that it helps you plan before you open, start your business operation, and then manage your business. So it's a real guide, and it really gives you the foundation of how your business is going to run. And it allows you to think through all the steps before the business starts. So it allows you to plan ahead. We all understand that things happen, but if you create a business plan, you've usually put the time and effort into it, and you can help mitigate some of those unforeseen circumstances if you plan accordingly. In the conclusion section, though, you're going to really just restate what your goals and objectives are. And if the purpose of your business plan is to get financing, clearly state the amount required and what it'll be used for. Because also when you're asking for funds, when you're asking for what it's going to be used for, what is that for? How does that translate into revenue for your business? And so that's a big part of the financials and your projections on the money that you're going to use, the use of cash, how is that going to turn into revenue, cash for your business. And then your conclusion section should be pretty concise, clear, and leave a positive impression. As I had mentioned, a few times already, revisit your plan. Always revisit, revise. Even once you finish and file your business plan, you just can't forget about it. You want to take the time to review your business plan as often as you need to, at least annually, and make sure you're tracking what you set out to do. If your objectives have changed, make sure you reflect that in your plan. Usually, as your business starts operating, you'll be able to do what we call a profit and loss summary, usually on a monthly basis. Whether it's through QuickBooks, it's really just what's coming in and what's coming out of your business. And then you can measure that against what you actually projected in your cash flow statement. And then always remember, it's a living document that's going to evolve as your business and circumstances change. So as long as you're adaptable and you understand that there are going to be change, don't hesitate, don't worry about what will happen in terms of the actual document itself. And lastly here, we're going to talk a little bit about our RBC Beyond Banking services. At RBC, we definitely offer more than just your regular banking solutions, whether it's just a business debit card, online banking. Every bank offers that. But as a business client, you do have access to special offers, special support from a wide range of business services that can help you operate your business. In some cases, you may not even have considered. In today's world, in addition to traditional banking services, beyond banking products and services show how this will really fulfill many more of your business clients' everyday needs. Some of the products that we have here is going to be Owner. That's usually a big one for clients who are going to be incorporating their business. It allows you to incorporate your business through Owner. You do get a bit of a rebate back if you open the account with RBC. We have products to help manage businesses like PayEdge. We also have products to help grow your business like our RBC Global Connect. All these services though, are there to help your business. It's like the ADP, that's for HR and employees. So you want to set up payroll and you have employees and there's HR, as I mentioned, it'll allow you to do that. Moneris, that's going to be something to allow you to receive payments. So depending if you want to do like a pop-up shop or if you go to a festival or an event where you're going to be selling your items, Moneris, where you can have like a portable debit or credit card machine. That'll be beneficial. The pay, as I mentioned, allows you to process payments to suppliers in a very efficient way for you. And then the pay plan option, we have grant matches as well, which will allow you to actually look in your industry and find the grants that are available at very easy, as opposed to just maybe some of them that are posted on the Ontario government website. Grant Match will scour, you just put in your information, the industry you're in, it'll tell you which ones will be available to you, how long the business has been operating. So these beyond banking services definitely allow for you to feel more connected and have more ability and offers as opposed to just your regular online banking there. And then we also have the RBC Insight Edge, which allows you to really look into your competitors and find out in the specific region that you're looking to expand to or start your business in, as well as the demographics, to see if that business, your business opportunity in that area will work, and because you'll be able to see the traffic that's been going through that area. So RBC Insight Edge is a very good one to help you do research on your competitors. And then we have some links here that I'll be more than happy to share on writing your business plan. So we have a pretty good starting a business plan link. It'll go through a lot of the questions that might be available to you. And it'll have the step-by-step guide here, and then also just kind of questions as to how you would start your business plan. And then Owner, they also offer the complete guide to writing a business plan. So we want to make sure you have the information if you do request it or require it to help you on the way, because writing a business plan can definitely be daunting, but you definitely want to take your time, and if done right, it can definitely help your business. It's hard to really operate a business without having a business plan, because you really need to delve directly, and especially if that as creating a business, it's a dream for you. It's something that you want to create. You're going to put a lot of effort and time in running the business, so you need to put a lot of effort and time in actually setting up a plan, making sure that everything's okay, and just figuring out if what your plan is, what your thoughts were, make 100% sense. So that's the presentation. And thank you for sharing those links there. Does anyone have any, we have about 20 minutes left. Does anyone have any questions, anything after that presentation that you thought maybe you had a question about? Absolutely. Non-for-profits should absolutely create a business plan, because even though you're a non-for-profit, you're going to be getting grants and investors and people. You're going to be looking to get money from the public, so you want to be able to have a business plan so that you can attract as many as you can. In terms of setting up a business, your business banking, the costs aren't too significant. If you are a sole proprietorship and you're only going to be using your legal name, you can open up an account and you would just pay the regular banking fees. We have 3 different types of packages depending on what you're using. It can be as little as $5 a month, but no additional cost would actually come with opening the account as a sole proprietorship. if you were a sole proprietorship, but you had a trade name. In terms of a trade name, is your operating name. So your legal name, as I mentioned, would be your first and last name, or first, middle, and last name. But then your trade name could be Joe's Hammers, whatever the business is. That in Ontario, you'll need a master business license. The master business license is registering that trade name. It lasts for 5 years. The cost for that is under $200. I believe it's about 75. You're able to go to Service Ontario and register for a master business license very easily. If you are a corporation, the fee for the corporation is around $300. But if you sign up through owner, you get a bit of a rebate back for registering the corporation through owner and opening up the RBC business account. I believe it's within 60 or 90 days. For grants, so Grant Match, you can definitely go to Grant Match. They can help you with that, as well as the Ontario government does have a list of grants, especially because since the pandemic. I could definitely see if I can share the link maybe after of the Ontario government website that has the specific links, as well for grants. So I can get that link and share it after. So you do need to be the age of maturity. So you would have to be at least in Ontario, you would need to be 18 years old. Oh, perfect. There you go.
I'm unsure if this person is in the chat, but there was a question in the Eventbrite, and I don't know if you are able to speak on this, but how would you organize your finance related files as an inexperienced entrepreneur, if you have any tips and tricks?
So how I'd organize them?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to know what they mean by organize your finances. Do you mean like what's coming in, what's coming out, like the expenses? That's how I would, like, as an experienced business account manager, you just really want to be very deliberate in, you want to be organized. So you need to know what's coming in all the time, but you also, the big thing is you need to know what's coming out, when it's coming out, why it's coming out. And you want to make sure that your money is working for you. So depending on the business that you're running, whether it's a product or it's a service, you want to be trying to work as efficiently as possible. So sometimes it also requires you to hire another person, because if by hiring another person, you can do twice as many of whatever your service is, whether it's a cleaning company, anything, whether you're a chiropractor, anything along those lines. Sometimes you do need to spend money to make money. I know it's kind of a little cliche and kind of lame, but you do want to always make sure your business is running as efficiently as possible. So you do want to make sure you're tracking everything. And that's why I would say how you would separate and categorize. You just need to know what's coming in, what's coming out, and making sure you're planning ahead. You can only plan for so much. I absolutely agree with that. But by planning, it at least gives you a sense of, okay, this is what it should look like. And in case something happens, okay, you can work with it and adjust. Well, that's what I would say. It's definitely just making sure you're understanding your cash flow. Next question here. Okay, so should non-for-profits seek investors the same way as businesses? Non-for-profits generally are going to be seeking government grants and investors through the government. So it's a little bit different than a for-profit business that's getting kind of like an angel investor, because usually a for-profit business, if they're investing, their plan is to get a percentage back on a consistent basis. Whereas a non-for-profit, since they're not really meant to make a profit, it's really meant to be providing a service, help to the community. You probably don't want to get the same type of investors as you would for a profit business as for a non-for-profit. Non-for-profit, you're really going to want to look to the government and looking for their government programs on how they support non-for-profits. You're welcome.
And one last question, because specifically for SIC, Social Impact Catalyst, there is quite a few younger folks. So is it okay if they open a business bank account without income?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You can absolutely do that. Because a lot of businesses, even in the startup phase, it's a lot of expenses that are coming out. So you may not be receiving income, but you may have a lot of expenses that need to come up to start the business, or maybe even just minor expenses. But it's really just the same as if you opened up a personal account, but you weren't making any money. So yeah, no, that's absolutely all right. Just understand how you're going to be using that account. So if you are going to be using it for just expenses and things like that, make sure you have the funds to at least cover it as you're starting your business.
Thank you. Okay, does anyone else have any questions? Okay, I think we're good for questions. Everyone has had a lot of questions so far, so that's great. Thank you so much for facilitating for today. That was very informational and informative. So thank you so much for bringing in your expertise for tonight. I do have a request from our marketing team, if people are able to turn on their cameras, because we would like to do a little screen recording to share on our social media. So hopefully people are getting ready to go on camera. Great, sweet, thank you. If there are more, that would be great. I'll set, but basically, if we can get everyone to do like a thumbs up for a great session, that would be great. I will do the screen recording. So it's going to be in a video context. So if you can do it while you're moving, maybe you want to do like a little dance, that would be great. Or if you want to do 2 thumbs up as well too, you can do that as well. Just going to get my screen recording started. I see some dancing shoulders. That's great. If you want to do that with your thumbs up, whatever you're feeling. Just gonna close these. Screen recording. Okay. Okay. Great. Sweet. Thank you so much. Oh, perfect. Thank you so much, Kazim.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me. Definitely appreciate it. And anyone has any questions after, they can definitely reach me after, and I'll leave my contact details as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Kazim. And we will be sending the deck and the recording to everyone who was registered for the session. So for anyone who was asking about that, that will be coming through. And if we can just ask the SIC cohort to stay behind for a couple of minutes, just for a few quick announcements. Otherwise, thank you all for joining tonight. And thanks again, Kazim, for the great session.
You're welcome. Take care, everyone.
Thank you too.
And for anyone that's staying, please make sure to fill out the session feedback survey. That'd be really great. We can get your feedback. It's in the chat. Thank you so much.